Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Terry Koss Show, a wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Terry Koss, coming at you from the Great White North, and last week I said I would recap the fourth week of the Cruiserweight Classic. These matches may not be in order, but first up we had England's Jack Gallagher up against Italy's Fabian Eichner. Gallagher, like Sabre, good technical wrestler, good with, getting out of holds and that kind of stuff. Eichner is deceivingly fast. Gallagher ended up getting the win and moves on to the second round. Our next match was Scotland's Noam Dar up against India's Gurv Sira. Now, Dar I have seen in ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling. Quite a good wrestler, of small stature, but can definitely get it done in the ring. Gurv Sira, brother of Harv Sira, who was beaten in the first round, known as the Bollywood Boys. Had a pretty good showing up against Dar, but Dar took the win and goes on to the second round. Our next match was United States' Rich Swann up against Japan's Jason Lee. Rich Swann I have heard of, wrestling on the independents. Swann continues to amaze me every time he's in the ring. It was an excellent match. Swann had some good stuff going, Lee had some good stuff going, but Swann gets the win and moves on to the second round. The fourth match, this was absolutely incredible. You have NXT Tag Team Partners Johnny Gargano up against Tommaso Ciampa. This match was awesome, to say the least. If you can check it out, I cannot recommend it highly enough. A great match. Gargano hit Ciampa with his finishing moves, Ciampa hit Gargano with his finishing moves, and it was back and forth, and it was just an amazing match, with Gargano getting the win and moving on to the second round. Next up, SummerSlam was this past Sunday. Watched it, thought it was really, really good. First match, we had Enzo and Big Cass up against Jericho, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Enzo cutting a great promo about New York. Jericho ends up getting the win with a combination. It looks like a flapjack codebreaker, it was actually an alright match. Next match was Women's Champion Sasha Banks up against Charlotte for the women's title. Surprisingly, Charlotte took this one. Sasha had her in the bank statement a second time, but in the second time, Charlotte was able to kind of reverse the pin, or kind of shift her weight and her momentum and pin Sasha Banks. Next match featured Apollo Crews up against the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. This match was pretty good. Apollo Crews, fast, and has a good combination of speed and power. Unfortunately, was defeated by The Miz. One of the matches of the night, AJ Styles against John Cena. This match was amazing. My jaw hit the ground. I can't even tell you how many times. This match was excellent. You had AJ kicking out of the Attitude Adjustment. Then you had Cena kicking out of the Styles Clash. You had then Cena on the top rope giving AJ a top rope Attitude Adjustment. And AJ kicked out of that. I could not believe it. AJ hits Cena with Styles Clash and then goes for an omelet forearm and gets the pin and the win. I just could not believe that. I'm so happy for AJ Styles, and Cena, put in a good match as well. Next match was the New Day, who were accompanied by Jon Stewart. They fought Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson for the World Tag Team titles. The match went back and forth. The New Day had some good stuff. Gallows and Anderson had some good stuff, but it was kind of becoming, a 2-on-1 attack. And then close to the end of the match, Gallows and Anderson had Stewart cornered. And then out comes Big E. We see the return of Big E, and he just lays out Gallows and Anderson. Gallows and Anderson win by disqualification. Next match, I'm surprised this wasn't higher up on the card, but it was for the WWE Championship, Dean Ambrose against Dolph Ziggler. A great match by both men. Really wanted Dean to win. I was hoping Dolph would win, but wasn't quite sure. Dean ends up getting the win anyways. Next match, 6-women tag team match featuring the women's division of SmackDown Live. We had the team of Becky Lynch, Naomi, who had a really cool entrance. Her theme song has kind of been remixed, and her entrance is just I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of like a disco rave type thing. It looked really cool, and I'm glad to see her back in a face role again. And we also had Carmella up against the team of, first we had Natalya come out, and then Alexa Bliss, and then it was who's going to be their third partner? Turns out to be the returning Nikki Bella. Great match by all 6 ladies. Carmella did this really cool kind of spinning Hurricane Rana thing on Natalya. That was pretty sweet. Becky had all 3 in the corner and just delivered these kicks to them. Nikki Bella ended up winning the match. The next match was for the WWE Universal Championship. Now, I was wondering in my head, what is this title going to look like? I honestly didn't know. Basically, if you have not seen it, the title looks like the WWE Championship, but with a red strap instead of a black strap, and it has Universal Champion written on the bottom. This was Finn Balor up against Seth Rollins. Great match by both. Seth Rollins had the pedigree. Balor kicked out of that. Balor tried for the coup de grace. Couldn't quite hit it. Great match back and forth. And Balor ended up winning the WWE Universal Championship, which was surprising. But, I'm glad for Finn Balor. Really like him. The main event was Brock Lesnar against Randy Orton. This match, oh man, it was a fight. Like, Brock came at it, Randy came at it, put each other through tables, and then right at the very end, Lesnar kind of goes back to his MMA style. Orton's on the mat, back down, and Lesnar just starts hammering with fists, and then he takes his elbow and hits him like right on top of the forehead of Randy Orton. Randy Orton is bleeding like there is like that was insane. Like, whether that was planned or not, I have no idea. But yeah, Lesnar at the very end just taking control, and the match was ruled by a knockout for Brock Lesnar, because Randy Orton was laying there and he was bleeding, and yeah, just Lesnar took his elbow and just hit Randy at the top of the forehead, and he was just bleeding like there was no tomorrow. So overall, my opinion, this was one of the better SummerSlams I've seen in the last few years. Had some great matches. Actually, the whole card was actually not bad. No, it was actually a pretty good card, to say the least. Watched TNA last week. We start off. James Storm comes out to the ring, calls on Brian Hebner. If you remember from last week, Storm and Lashley had a match where Lashley's World and X Division title were on the line up against Storm's King of the Mountain title. Lashley ended up winning. And so Storm comes out. From what I see, he hit Lashley with the last call in the first 3-4 seconds of the match. And Hebner was, trying to get everybody out of there. And Storm ended up getting a 2 count, and he was just really mad. And so Billy Corgan comes out. Billy Corgan is now president of TNA Wrestling. Dixie Carter stepping down and becoming the chairman. So, him and Storm and Corgan have words, and Corgan ends up suspending James Storm, which didn't really like that, but, that's how it goes. Moose had a matchup against Eddie Edwards. Good match going back and forth. Moose ends up getting the win. Then we had Gail Kim against Jade. In this storyline as it's going, Maria, who's head of the Knockouts, Gail cannot get a Knockouts title match until she goes through so many. She went through Madison Rain, she went through Marty Bell. This time she went through Jade in an amazing match. I can see the respect that Jade has for Gail Kim, and good match. Gail Kim ends up getting the win, and her streak goes on. Well, streak as it were. Also to note, she is being inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame this year, the first knockout to be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. Had a really cool X Division match. We had DJZ up against Mandrews, Rockstar Spud, and Braxton Sutter. Great 4-way match. Was really, really good. One of the better X Division matches I've seen this year. DJZ ends up getting the win, and I believe became number 1 contender to the X Division Championship. Next, we had EC3 coming out. Invited out Drew Galloway. Galloway says to EC3, "I want to have a match with you next week, one-on-one. If I beat you, I go on to Bound for Glory." And EC3 says, "Sure, let's do it." All of a sudden, Aaron Rex comes to the ring, and he's going to be the special guest referee. So that will be a very interesting match. We see Broken Matt Hardy, and now Jeff, who is brother Nero, with a completely different look to him. The one eye looks fine, the other eye looks like he has a white contact lens on it. Has the same kind of get-up that Matt has, so assuming from that, Jeff is starting to become broken and starting to become brother Nero. It looked really strange, but I guess that's how they're advancing the storyline. So, next match, we had Eli Drake came out. Fought Mahabali Shera. Great match between the two. Eli Drake ends up getting the win. Lashley called out, or in the middle of Impact, talked to Dixie and talked to Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan. He said, "I have a big surprise." So he comes out to the ring, calls out Dixie and Billy. They come out, and he wants to unify all the championships he has: the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the TNA X Division Championship, and the TNA King of the Mountain Championship. Now Dixie and Billy said, "No, that's not happening." Lashley threw down both the X Division and the King of the Mountain titles, ending his reign with both. And Billy Corgan announces for this coming week's Impact Battle Royal, when the winner gets a shot at Lashley's TNA Heavyweight Championship. So right now, as of now, the X Division title and the King of the Mountain title are both vacant. In the last match, we had a ladder match to determine the number one contenders to the TNA World Tag Team titles. We had the Hardys, Broken Matt and Brother Nero, up against the Bromans, the Helms Dynasty, and the Tribunal. Great match, back and forth. As the story is going at this point, Matt is getting Jeff to kind of do all the work for him, because, when they won the tag team titles a while back, and Jeff ended up breaking his leg on his dirt bike. And so Broken Matt now feels that, you cost us the titles, so you have to get them back. So he goes in the match. Matt Hardy gets himself involved, starts biting almost everybody he can see. Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, Robbie E, I think. Not sure. Gets involved. Brother Nero goes on the ladder, gets to the top, and the Hardys are now the number one contenders for the TNA World Tag Team titles. Just to note, 2 themes for TNA have been released, both by a band. It's either a band or a woman called Sestaria. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Spelled Sstaria. You have Boom, the new theme for the Bromans, and Resurrection, the theme for Aaron Rex. Both of those can be found on iTunes. Going back to this, during SummerSlam it was announced that SmackDown will be going back to the Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. SmackDown Live's first pay-per-view will be Backlash, which takes place in September. Raw will also have a pay-per-view event as well, that also taking place in September, called Clash of Champions. Now, I'm guessing from this that's kind of a nod to the old WCW TV specials that aired on TBS. I believe it was every month or every couple months, called Clash of the Champions, kind of a pay-per-view quality show on television. So it'll be interesting to see going forward how it goes with the pay-per-views, like Raw having one, SmackDown having one. As of tonight, Daniel Bryan has announced that he will be debuting 2 new championships exclusive to SmackDown, because Raw has the WWE Universal Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, the Women's Championship, and the WWE Tag Team Championship. It'll be interesting to see what titles Daniel Bryan decides to activate, whether it be, I'm going to guess, a women's title and a tag team title. Again, it'll be very interesting to see, where we go, or in what direction they end up going. Watched a little bit of Raw last night. Finn Balor unfortunately had to vacate the WWE Universal Championship due to a shoulder injury suffered in the WWE Universal Championship match up against Seth Rollins. Sad to see, but sometimes that's the way it goes. The Dudley Boys announced their basically retirement from WWE and were, set, ready to go, and Gallows and Anderson came in, just kind of beat the tar out of them, put Devon through a table with the Magic Killer, and hit Bubba Ray with Magic Killer on the outside. So, hard to say where this is going next. Also to note, I kind of missed this at the beginning, but I'll kind of say it now. At the end of the match at SummerSlam between Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, Shane McMahon came out to try and, kind of calm everything down, try to, get Lesnar to stop. Lesnar picks him up, gives him an F5. I saw on YouTube the WWE Top 10, so that's how I found out what happened on Raw. I don't know what happened between Brock Lesnar and Shane, what's going on, with Brock, but Stephanie did an interview with Tom Phillips, and repercussions are coming. So it'll be interesting to see what way what they're going to do with Brock Lesnar going forward. That'll about do it for this week. I hope you had as much fun listening to me as I did talking to you. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Terry Koss Show Podcast, and feel free to follow me on Twitter at Cheeto Koss. That's CheetoKoss. If you have any matches you want me to see, any new themes that came out you'd like me to hear, definitely send them my way, either on Facebook or on Twitter. So for Terry Koss, this has been Terry Koss. See you next week.